Well, welcome everybody to episode 33. And today we have Rick Jupp. Yeah! We need that sound. We need that.
Yeah.
You need just a the canned laughter. We definitely need that.
We'll do that. We'll invest. I'm going to just dive right in because I've got quite a few questions.
55 million questions.
Oh, God. Okay. All right.
This is not a test. This is not a test. This is just,
All right.
Gotcha. I'm helping out the conversation. And we're going to just ask the question we ask every time, which is, do you think, what's missing, if anything, from drum education?
Freedom. Freedom to just play and just mess around, find your own way. And ironically enough, I think it's probably time. Not saying that I know any better than anybody else, but at the top of every session, this probably everybody does this, but just 10 minutes of getting in the room, getting on the kit. You can kind of try. You can try and get a sense of what the student and yourself, what you're feeling as the session progresses, as that sort of bit of free play settles in. If they're in a frustrated mood, if they're a bit tired, if they're a bit off, if they're on, if they're stoked, do you know what I mean? If they're firing, if they've practiced, if they haven't. And that goes for me as well, that goes for the teachers as well. So it's a chance to sort of level out the room. I think, I get a lot of students at level 6 uni who have come through the sort of the grade route and the sort of more theory-based route, reading route. Hats off. I can't read. I haven't read a note, so I'm kind of learning off those guys, which is great for me, and it kind of instills in them a deeper sense of learning as well, because they are trying to communicate something to me. So I get a free lesson, which is great, and hopefully they get a sense of what it's like to teach, of impart knowledge, which you can tell I've just done my or tried to just do my PG cert. I'm full of all this stuff at the moment. Yeah, it'll all go. Don't worry. Let's do another one in a month, and I'll just be like mumbling utter rubbish. Anyway, so yeah, I found that I don't know if you give them time to just. I always say to dick about. Really, just it's a visceral, physical instrument. It's everything, which is what I love about it. And try and instill in them a safe place, especially now. When you've got a place to go and you can exercise and exorcise the day frustrations. If you're lucky enough. Very long answer this. I get it. But even with students that have got a pair of sticks and a pad, or just a pair of sticks, or no sticks, you can still do tons of stuff, coordination-based exercises, which is what I've put up on Insta. I know, Kira, you're I'm still trying to work out what you do, with your time sigs and stuff. So yeah.
Same here.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like, oh, not another one. God, I'm done the first 7. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. So it's trying to instill in them the sense of, coordination, perception, awareness, breath, proprioception, and all this is just, you can only. Well, it's kinesthetic learning, and you learn by doing. So giving them a chance to do without having to. my God, it's 9:30. I'm just been waffling on. Sorry, I get quite into it.
That's great. Do you teach absolute beginners?
Yeah.
And how do you approach that for all this concept in the first lesson, for example, because they have never played drums before?
1, 2, 3, 4. So right hand 1, 2, 3, 4. Count out the quarters. Kick on 1 and I've got to remember how to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that. And once once they've, it's all these little nuggets of when they look at you and they get it, and you know that they've got it, and they know that you know that they've got it, and these little anchor points. It obviously still happens to every drummer. When obviously Kira puts up a bloody time signature post and you get it. 30 years in, and I'm like, yes. You know what I'm saying?
I still haven't had that moment with Kira. I still look at her stuff and go like, what is
Stop
that?
it. You have.
No, but it's just that, when you, I don't want to sound too deep, but chatting to Dave Elich, who's become a really good mate, and just the way he instills that sort of just take your time. I mean, his courses, get out your own way. So just sit. Even with professionals, I take them back to that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then is it Mike Johnston or the Benny Greb, which is talking over the top. So when you do it, you get it for 3 or 4 bars, and then it all goes to shit. And it all goes to shit. And then I kind of talk over it, and then by that reckoning, the brain is sort of just rejigging all these connections, and then you go, right, okay, go again, we'll play together, and then I'll put on a tune and say, look, this is all this is 2, 3, 1, 2. So you've started to create, and then more often than not, that makes sense to the absolute beginners.
Excellent.
I love it. I love that approach, and I love the get out of your own way thing. That really resonates with me, because it's just like
he's got it dialed in. He's got it dialed in. I think just over for something that people perceive to be so complex. I think if you are able just to take that mindset off, keep returning to the 1, 2, 3, 4. All my littlies, from 5, 7, 11. All those guys and girls are phenomenal, and they're probably sick of me going like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Subdivisions, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. There's a girl, Rosie. Honestly, she is, how old is she now? She 11, I think, and she is like phenomenal. Like, just and you know that somebody's just got the want. Stone cold look in her eyes when she's on it. The sort of paradiddle fill, and then back in, and then it's like, okay, we'll put the paradiddle on the bell. Start moving it around the kit. Oh man, yeah. She's going to make me very. No, she's not make me very rich at all. But
she's going to make you very proud.
Yeah, very proud. Very proud.
I wanted to get a little deep then, just with mental health and drumming, because right from the off, I feel like you feel drumming like deeply, and drumming for music therapy, it's it's all connected, and I wanted to know if you have like an approach, like if you have a routine, like if you get up and you're like, I have to play drums to like reset things, and how do drums work their way into your mental health way? being, if that makes sense.
That's a good one. That one. Okay. So it is sort of, I don't know, whenever you get in the car and you know music comes on, you're in that place, the engine's on. I don't know whether it's the position you sat in, it's your position. Do you know what I mean? Once you've set and you're in, I always liken it to driving, because it's the it's the happy place. Do you know what I mean? You are in control. Things happen by you doing something to make it happen. So if you want to sit there on the kit and just play a pulse with your right leg or your left leg, whatever, doesn't matter. You're already creating. You're already in that space, safe space. It's taking up good CPU in your brain. So you're accessing all these areas that are meant for creativity, focus, musicality, coordination, proprioception. All those things they're just there. And like driving, it takes a lot. So you can sort of offset, whatever you're thinking, whether it's, it's not a be all and end all by any means, but just for me, I'm gonna try and promote this. Even you don't have to be playing, even if you just sat at a kit, it's just a beautiful thing, and it's something you can. It's yours. It's you've moved every little bit, and you've tinkered and you've moved stuff, and the way it's designed is it's ergonomic. So you make it your own. So it's yours, and maybe a sense of pride, maybe a sense of ownership, maybe a sense of this is me, and it's a way to communicate, like any musical instrument. It is a there's a profound connection between you, your message, and how you get that across. Even if it is here, you can record it. You can yeah, or you can just do it for yourself. 9 times out of 10. I mean, the stuff I put on Instagram is just me, first thoughts, exactly that. I'm just like, right, I get in, that's the first thing that comes into my head. I might wake up and I'll think, right, I need to get it out of my head, and if not, then I don't play. I mean, obviously I've worked hard and got to this point, but I am lucky enough, it doesn't sort of, it doesn't get past me that I'm able to walk out and, like yourself, you've got a setup at home, and it's like a member of the family. Sarah, my wife, she's always like, her. We always say it's her. Gretch. It's like, yeah, morning, darling. So it's and it's just cool. I mean, it's the best. It's the best instrument.
No doubt about it.
No, I love it. That's what prompted the question. It's like seeing your first thoughts on Insta. I'm like, oh, I love it. I love it because it's just fresh. It's just what it is. And I almost think like, I've got like a little twinge of like jealousy, like, oh, he's just gone up and done it. And that's it. And it's like, it's amazing. But it's how good must that be to just get up, play, and it's like out.
It's one of those. It's again, I'm thankful and humbled and all that. I mean, there is a slight either contradiction or irony. I don't know which of I've put it out there. So there's a little bit of a is it an ego thing? Is it? I don't know. Am I doing it for likes? What am I doing it for? Well, obviously, I'm doing it for likes. There's, I've got to do my profile. This is where it gets a little bit edgy. you know, yeah, am I just doing it for likes or to heighten my profile or what, or am I just want to, or do I just want to share it? Um, that's what I do want to do, but I always think, shit, you know, if I'm doing it, then yeah, I don't know. It still gets me that.
Never stop sharing it. I personally love it. I think it's great because it's just, and it's, to me, it seems super, it's authentic. It's in the moment. So therefore, it's a good thing. And you're sharing it. It doesn't seem like contrived at all.
As long as that's what how it comes across, you know,
yeah.
I appreciate that, because that's how it's meant. You know, I mean, I do literally just put the camera on and just, or I'll have a little tinker, and then I'll think, oh, that's all right, I'll put that on, and I honestly don't think about it. And you know, people who spend hours getting it right and making sure it's bob on, recording it, getting into Logic and mix it and all that thing, that's fantastic. Do you know what I mean? But it, you know, I literally haven't got time for that. I mean, you probably have family and work and you know, life.
Yeah.
At the minute, it's all about. My wife's calling me Daisy at the minute from Downton Abbey, because every morning I do the fires downstairs. You know, the wood burners and stuff. Because it's like it's cold. So I'm like sweeping out the grate and you know, lighting fires. It's not like I haven't got a big house. I've only got one log burner, but yeah, it's you know, that, and you know what I mean, and just being able to balance. And I suppose lockdown has given us the opportunities to, you know, I'm lucky enough that you know, I'm teaching and I've got a studio here and you know, yeah, we can sort of hang out with the family.
Maybe this thing you're doing, it's back to that you're sharing. It's back to basics. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, when a band becomes successful, there's all the business behind, but primarily a band just wanted to put it out there.
Yeah.
What the band wanted to,
That's true.
you know,
Yeah. No,
record.
definitely. I haven't thought about that.
So maybe you're going back to the beginning of everything, just, you know, sharing.
It does feel like that. I think in many ways, I've, you know, sort of 5.5 years out, I've been able to. I'm only now really been able to process what happened. You know, it's a bit of a yeah. I do tend to take my time doing things, and then I do things at the last minute. But I think, you know, the enormity of what happened, and obviously, you know, the lad's still going in that, but yeah, it was just like, my God. And now, as you've just said, it's yeah, it does feel like that. It feels like I'm exploring what I'm doing on the kit. You know, we never really had a day really for me to think about my capabilities or what I wanted to say on the kit, because I was saying it through the band. So, you know, and it was all about the music. It was all about the band. It was never about the individual. So yeah, that's yeah, that's yeah, wow, cool. I'll have a think about that. That's really got me.
Right.
I was going to ask you about your drum parts, actually, because it's funny that you talk like that, because to me, I might get a bit fangirlish. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm going to
fangirl away.
keep
It's
it
fine.
super brief.
It would be worse if I got a little bit fangirlish.
No, but to me, your parts are always so right, you know. Like I'm thinking of like Mirrorball, and I just is a favorite, and I just think, like, I saw you guys play at Apple Store,
oh right, yeah.
London, like a really intimate gig, and maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but like, were you like hitting the bass drum with a soft beater?
Probably.
And I was just like, what? this is great. Like, it's so thoughtful and respectful of the song. Like, to me, I really love that, because you're really considering the song and you're creating such a lush platform for the song, everything else to sit on. So I'm like, it's funny that you say that, because to me, I think, well, it's clear that it is really thoughtful and you've put thought into what you're doing, and it's great. It's so good. And I just wanted to know, well, how was that born then? Would the song be written and then you put your drums to it, or do you create the part?
It was anything really. So one of us would bring an idea in, and it is not necessarily on your instrument, or a reference or a tune. I mean, it all changed when Guy had a sort of voracious appetite for music, and new stuff. And when we tried to write singles, which or a single which went down like a lead balloon. But it was a great learning curve. We went to the studio, went to a great studio in Rochdale, called Studio with a guy called Pete Troughton. And even then, just doing the the drum parts, that felt like it was a bit separate. So it was the opposite of what you were saying. It was like that was like being in a band. All the parts were kind of separate. We did this, and then we did that, and then we did that, and then we did that. All kind of thought out because it was on a budget primarily. I overdubbed the hi-hats on a couple of tracks. So I was playing it, but the hi-hat was covered with a duvet, so there was no bleed.
Mm.
And it was just looking back, I was just thinking, oh Christ, that gave me a really good sense of discipline, of knowing your parts, of doing the prep, doing the pre-production. Anyway, so that bombed, and we didn't get signed and toured the world within 6 months as we thought we were going to. And so a guy brought Talk, Spirit of Eden, I think it was. And it led us to think, well, balls to this. We don't want to write to order, or we're not writing. We can't do that, obviously, because we've done some showcases, and it was just, no thanks, guys. Next. So having listened to this, to Talk, being profoundly, moved, it was like, right, we wrote a track called September Sometime, which was kind of like Scatter Black and Whites, so pretty, and Mirrorball, so pretty samey for the drums, but again, it's that sort of hypnosis, rhythmic, whatever. We kind of settled. I don't know whether it was conscious that we were doing it at that time signature, but it just felt right. There was enough space. So again, it's back to providing a good platform. Anchor points were good, so all the subdivisions sat nicely. Melody sat over the top, and it wasn't. It didn't then become a conscious thing to play for the music. We just did it, and anybody could write. Anybody could write a drum part. Anybody could write a guitar part. Anybody could write the vocals were pretty much Guy, and the lyrics were pretty much Guy, but he was always in the room. Right, either they were first, or if they weren't, then they were inspired by the music. But everybody was a part of everything else. Do you know what I mean? Real quick story. I've told this before, but tower crane driver. Again, it was mallets. It was like it's got to sound grand. It's got to sound orchestral. This sort of 12/8 time signature. And Guy was like, right, I really want on every second snare, I want like a boing sound, like a doom. Couldn't find it. And, we'd obviously worked to a point where we could spend time hunting the sound. Most of the time we talked about what we're going to eat for lunch. Do you know what I mean? But what we're going to do that night. But, we managed to do some work as well. And we were like hunting sounds. So we were trying to mess up the structure of songs. We were trying to mess up the way we made air wobble. Yeah. So we'd reamp stuff, and the big room at Blueprint in Salford, where the studios there, was phenomenal. The acoustics were great. Anyway, so a couple of weeks went by, and I can't find this sound. It's like a doom. And anyway, apparently the story goes, he was at his sister's and he made a cup of tea, walked into the room, and he knocked the mug against this lamp. Yeah, it was like not porcelain, but you know what I mean. And there it was. That was the sound. So what he did was he brought the lamp in, made a cup of tea. Obviously had to make a brew for everybody. And we recorded him just bumping into it. That was it.
Love
so
it.
It's kind of hunting the sound, making sure that every sound on every album was a journey, so that when somebody would listen to it 20 times deep, you'd be like, oh shit, I didn't hear that. Wow, okay. Just as we did with Talk Talk.
Great. Love it.
That's the short version.
That's the short version. For the long version, there's a documentary.
Yeah.
My question for you is: who are your earliest influences they were in drumming? Because you have this approach of serving the song, and usually drummers have the approach of serving themselves.
It's a weird one. Back in the day, it was sort of Anthrax, Iron Maiden, AC/DC. So that's probably where it came from. Bon Scott, AC/DC.
Real AC/DC.
The real AC/DC. I don't want to bum anybody out, but yeah, I think Charlie Benante was just like, yeah, I was a proper rocker back in the day. And then Growley, Nirvana, that sort of simplified everything. It was just power. And then it was sort of U2. Actually, yeah, that happened quite early at U2. There was a mate of mine, Matthew Roberts, who was learning drums, and before I'd even thought, I was in football and BMXing and skateboarding and stuff like that. And he had a kit in his room, and he was a U2 fan, and it was Unforgettable Fire. That was where I thought about serving the song. I didn't see it as just playing it simply. So it was a lot of different. There was a load of different influences there. Charlie Benante was super fast and and all the sort of the metal bits, and then Full Rudd. Oof, yeah. And then Larry Mullen. I actually, when we were watching, we bonded over U2, and then Rattle and Hum. I actually wanted to be a drum tech, because I saw the guy sort of crouched down behind Larry Mullen, Larry Mullen Jr. And I thought, he looks cool. He looks like he knows what he's doing. And then, I didn't. I became the drummer. So, so I don't know. I mean, it just for serving the song, I think it was just this morphing into, as we grew up, like every band does, there comes a point where, you see your mates doing other stuff and going off to uni and getting jobs or earning money or whatever. I don't know. We just sort of stuck together. And then it was like, we got to that moment where it was, the Talk thing. We'd gone through the Santana, jams and playing at 7,000 RPM and we were actually called RPM at one point. Oh, shit. Yeah, Rick, Pete and Mark. See?
Oh.
Anyway, we can probably edit that out.
No, I think that's going to be the highlight.
Shit, no. So yeah, we've. I don't know. I think just on reflection and these sort of 5 years of being out of that particular bubble, being a buzzword at the moment. It's taking time, as you can probably tell, to sort of reflect on it and understand how and why, in terms of my own part in it.
I wanted to ask you about, you have a son, don't you?
Yeah, Big Dylan.
Yeah, and I guess I'm curious about what it was like for you having a child while being in a touring band.
Really hard.
Like,
really hard.
Did the other guys ever have any understanding? I don't know if they had or have.
No.
And did you have any kind of say or leeway in terms of trying to make it work for you, and your family?
That's a really multi-layered.
And that's a bit personal, so you don't have to.
No. Honestly, it's fine. How am I going to answer this?
While you think about it, let me ask you, are you having trouble at home? That's why you're asking him, so you know how to do it?
No. No, but I've definitely had my own thing when I have been drumming away.
Yeah.
I have had the questions. Who's looking after the kids?
I mean that shouldn't. I mean, that's just shit for you to be asked that question. That is the worst. And I hope the person who asked that question either got it in the face or.
It was a common thing,
I mean, well, sorry, I get really annoyed about that. Yeah, it was hard because Dylan was he came on quite early, so it was at a time when we didn't have any money, and we'd kind of you're in America for 4 weeks supporting the Dubs, but you've got like a phone card. There's no FaceTime. You know what I mean? It sounds like a sob story, but this is what it was. It was like no FaceTime, no mobile phone. Do you know what I mean? No nothing. And you had a phone card, 16 digits, and then your phone number, and then if you drop one of those, you'd be like, start again. Time difference. I think we were all a bit green. On reflection, there's lots of stuff you could have done. I remember being in Hammerstein Ballroom in New York when we supported Doves. And Sulphur Man. I can't remember which album. I'll get a clip round the air from the Doves lads. But yeah, that came on, and I lost it because it was the last gig of the tour, and I think it was about 3 weeks. It was 3 weeks actually, because Dylan was 3 weeks old, and I'd missed Coachella. The lads had done Coachella, and I got a shout out from Chris Moyles, who was over there when he was at Radio One, which was lovely. So again, you got this sort of amazing. Everybody's going, oh my God, Coachella, America, oh my God, amazing. And then you're like, well, bursting into tears when you're in the cab going to the airport to drive to America to support the Doves, or go on tour, and then you go to Europe. And then in those days, well, like any day, you're out. You've got 3 weeks there, you've got 4 weeks there, and then somebody's just said, do you want to do a tour in Australia? Well, that's got to be another 3 weeks at least to make it viable. But then we may as well do, Japan if we can, economical, and we've got a chance of doing LA. There's a festival there, so we might as well tag that on at the back and then go round that way. So then you're suddenly 6 weeks in. So, juggling that, I mean, I think we did really well. Obviously, the lads were. I don't know what. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I've not spoken to them since I left. So we still got to, sort of reflect on the whole thing. There were things that I've heard around, since that happened during that time, unbeknown to me. So, which I obviously won't go into, but by the very nature of me saying, you can hazard a guess. So yeah, there's that into the mix as well. That particular shit grenade. But hey, we're all here and we're all happy and healthy. So it could only have been this way.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Like, I think that's like hardcore for you to have just stuck to it. And I don't know. I just think hats off,
I mean, it was, mate, honestly, team effort. I mean, Sarah, there are no words, and I think, anybody, we've just got done. So anybody who has more than one child, I mean, God, amazing. So, and especially in this industry, because it does take you away. I mean, because you've got that sort of people looking at your idyllic life from the outside, and then you've got your life, which is idyllic, and then you've got the everyday, which can be idyllic and might not be idyllic. And it's like, I've lost a lot of friends, and I know, we all have. When you come back off. I remember we managed to get Jonathan Ross, big fucking milestone, and we were off the back of, I think, something in Europe, and it was all a muddle. I stopped drinking 5 years ago, so I kind of remember things from 5 years ago, and then the past 30 is a little bit hazy. So yeah, and then I kind of got back home, and then I was just really tired. Do you know what I mean? And people were like, "What?" Do you know what I mean? I've just done a week of work, and we've got this and that, and then I've got to be up at 7 and and I've got to do this every day. You're tired. And I'm like, well, yeah, I am tired. And then Sarah's, she's been with Dylan, and she's got her own thing. She's working and balancing everything. And then you've got me going, drunk down the phone. Oh, yeah, we're doing this. We're amazing. And Dylan's been up all night and she's not slept for 24 hours. And you just think, yeah, well, I can't complain. And this is kind of linked to Hummingbird, which is a mental health charity. My mate Ian, he approached me a while back. So that music, I know that there are other mental health charities for musicians and helplines and help. But I know it seems quite trite in this day and age, but it's kind of more prevalent now because there is no outlet for creative people. We're kind of in that coming back round to being able to sit on a kit and smash it out or practice or play guitar or do whatever. But Hummingbird have been great in allowing me to sort of I don't know, speak to other musicians and go, yeah, you can be knackered, you can be tired, it's not, you're living this idyllic lifestyle and you cannot complain, because everybody's got a a shit deal. So yeah, but I think back then there wasn't any of that, and it was the culture was, have a drink, do you want a drink? Have a drink. Let's get pissed. Let's have this. Let's have that. Don't get me wrong, it's fucking great most of the time. But those times when it wasn't, and it's hard, man. It's hard. But I think the advent of FaceTime and Zoom and computers. I'm not that old, but you know what I mean. Affordable computers and phones to stay in contact was kind of a godsend for touring musicians and crew. I've just spent 5 minutes going, but you just think of somebody on the crew who is out for they've got week pre-production, then 6 weeks, and then they're back. They might have 2-3 days, and they've got to do pre-production for another band, and then they're out for another 6 weeks, and then another 8 weeks, and then they've got to de-rig your stuff when they get home. Whereas you just get a cab and you are home, and you get to bed. They've got to take it all back to the studio, and all this kind of stuff. So yeah. But don't get me wrong, most of it was amazing. Yep.
Hang on a minute, because I read that you don't have any formal training for drumming. What?
Self-taught.
Get out of here. Serious?
Maybe that's the secret, Kieran.
That's the secret. Okay.
Yeah, I've been having formal training in drums for all my life, and I'm still rubbish. So maybe that's...
Oh, get out of it! What?
So okay, all right then. Final question. So I was wondering, has that then had an effect on your approach, because you're all about facilitating, not teaching?
Yes.
So is that where it's from? The fact
drumming facilitator.
Drumming facilitator. Yes, that's where it comes from. A shed load of imposter syndrome, and I don't know. I think because I enjoy it too much, and who am I to teach you if I can help you? I don't want to sound like a dick, but do you know what I mean? If I can help you get to a point where you can understand how good it feels, then that's it. That's kind of job done. And if that instills a want in you to play the drums, not play the drums, do it as a hobby, wedding band originals, you know, sack it off and play the guitar or go and sing, or think, do you know what? I want to do something else. I'm sick of doing this. You know, I've always loved music. I've always wanted to do something there. I've had, you know, you've probably had it the same. You know, you've had feedback of people who go, I feel confident. You know, I don't want to be in a band. I don't want to do it, but I feel better. And I think, especially now, you know, anything that doesn't involve hurting anybody else that you can do for yourself to make you feel better, that connects you um, with your brain, with your body, puts a smile on your face, is worth it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
Good way of
Thank
finishing
you.
it.
Thank you for your time and for opening up and being great.
Thank you guys for doing all of that and more, so much more.